I just wanted to applaud you. It was so important to have media like yourself, particularly young men, to have firsthand a sense of what the women's program was about. And, you're able to speak to it, which we needed help with. I found myself getting sick. I lost hearing. I lost. I had pain in my joints. I found myself struggling sometimes to find words, and I wasn't sure what that was about. And to make a long story short, I later discovered that I had Lyme disease.
Right.
And the players that I was getting those last 4 years, they weren't the same committed players. Some were, and I want to make sure that that's clear. There were some that wanted to come and play and really help the program, but there were too many that really distracted from what we had been building, and that was sad. So in the end, it was. I knew that I was not going to be able to continue health-wise and otherwise. It's just it's just never easy to know when it's time to step down.
But it's not as if you just sort of faded into the sunset. I mean, you've done so many things post-retirement from the full-time coaching of basketball. And as you said, you discovered what the disease was and obviously have lived a full and happy life since then, for the most part. But also, through these years, you've still continued to take on important roles and also, through time, get the accolades that you deserve for those, with tributes and eventually becoming a finalist for the Naismith Hall of Fame and having a great ceremony in 2022 at Kansas. So the past couple of decades, take us through those and overcoming those challenges and living a fulfilling life afterwards.
Well, I never found myself stopping and looking back. It was always difficult to talk about, how do you feel about this accomplishment or that? Because I was so busy on trying to get to the next step, But when I finally was able to enjoy some of the things that I accomplished, being inducted in the Women's Hall of Fame, the Naismith recently, being a finalist, that's nice. I appreciate that. I think it's been the University of Kansas paying tribute to some of the things that I was able to help build by naming this beauty that they have for women's basketball after me. Making the Olympic coaching staff with Tara Vanderveer. It was a shock, pleasantly so, and all the years as a young athlete, when I was, striving to make the Olympics, never quite, always falling short, and here I was now as a coach, being able to attend the 96 Olympics,
right?
An Olympic held in our own country. It was wonderful. I take a lot of pride in that as well. So, anytime I can talk to young athletes or talk to young coaches, I want to always do that.
Well, tell us about the process now of putting this all down on paper and you deciding to tell your story. It seems long overdue to me, but I'm glad it's being done. The book, as I mentioned before, is called Fierce. It will be out in August. My Fight for Nothing Less. Tell us about the story of telling the story.
Well, at different times in my career, toward the latter part of my career, I would hear from friends, Coach, you need to write a book. Coach, you need to write a book. And, yes, I'm going to do that. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, but it never happened. I'm 77 years old now. My daughter is and was convinced that I needed to tell my story. And so she worked real hard to position me where I wasn't going to be able to back out. So the book is finished. You opening up, which I do, I share a lot about my life story. It's not easy to do that. Sometimes kind of scary when I think about it, And I just have to reinforce in my own mind that at least I'm a great grandmother now. Mm-hmm. At least my family will have a way of looking back, a legacy that is been documented. They don't have to go searching to try to figure out about their ancestors. So I'm pleased that whether the book does anything, at least I think my family will be able to appreciate it.
Well, your accomplishments are unbelievable. I chronicled them in the open to this particular podcast, and at 560 wins and all the tournaments and all the trailblazing that you did and challenges that you came over with, the class and dignity and style that you had. You are now a great-grandmother, and I'm sure you're a fine great-grandmother. I was going to say a great-great-grandmother, but that would make you another generation older. I don't want to do that. But so all the accolades and everything else, and when you look back, you must, I think it's appropriate that the book is called Fierce, because in your own really stylish and classy way, you were incredibly fierce, and you must look back on all this with an amazing amount of pride.
I do now. I feel like you wonder why you stay in the trenches, and not leave. And there would be times, Danny, when I would pray and ask God to move me if that's what he wanted me to do, but he didn't. And so I had to accept that my purpose in life was to help build that women's program. And I do take a lot of pride that I can go back. I think it was a 2013 women's track program, won a national championship. I think it was the indoor, maybe. And now our coach, Stanley Redwine, has been named to the track and field Olympic coaching staff. Now, this is an extension of starting that program in 1974. So those are, things that I'm so proud of. I've got 4 All-Americans. Lynette Woodard, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest that played college women's basketball. And they're, what I tried to do in the book was certainly not take away from anything that these young women are doing, but it's different. It's a different game. Lynette had to play with the men's basketball. There was no 3-point line, so you can't compare. So I'm trying to get our women to appreciate our history. First of all, to learn about it, to make sure that it's accurate, and to appreciate those coaches and players that came before that helped them be where these young players are today. And with players like Lynette and Caitlin and Jackie Stiles and Nira White, players that you probably have never heard of, these are young athletes that really paved the way. And they were phenomenal in their own right, and should be appreciated for what they accomplished.
Well, you obviously should be appreciated and have been appreciated for what you've accomplished. And obviously, you're still accomplishing things in doing this book and everything else. You're not ready to fade into the sunset yet, are you?
I guess I'm not, Annie, but I'm trying to move a little bit slower, though.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, with 8 convenient locations in the Kansas City metro. Dr. Brad Woodall and his friendly team will improve your health and outlook with every visit. Find out more at asfca.com/Danny.